Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we're going to be talking about Twitch because a Dexerto article just came out that honestly really piqued my interest and brought together some data that I really wanted to take a look at with you guys here. We've talked for the last couple years now about Twitch and the problems with the platform, things that have been going on, the major controversies, the dramas between the community, the creators, and of course, well, Twitch itself. We've talked about a lot of these different things, and a lot of the times that I've talked about these things, I've made like passing references to Twitch being on the path of dying, basically, you know, Twitch being on the path to a complete decline and a complete fall off, you know, where they're not going to be the top dogs in the streaming industry anymore, man. And there's a lot of, I guess, debate around the numbers that we're about to take a look at here, whether or not they actually signify the beginning of the end for Twitch, but I'm going to be making a few arguments in this video, basically saying that, yeah, this is the beginning of the end of Twitch. I don't really see how this doesn't correlate to many of the massive issues that we've seen over the last couple years on the platform. I just don't see a world in which this is recoverable in the current way Twitch is going about things. You know, Twitch is one of the, I would say, most out-of-touch platforms when it comes to actually, you know, like listening to their community, knowing what their community wants, actually doing things that benefit their community, of course. They are just, they're not good at it, man. Let's be honest. Let's just call a spade here. Let's just keep it a $1.50 here. These guys do not know how to make their community happy. Whenever anything happens, whenever there's any sort of trial and tribulation on the platform, Twitch addresses it in the wrong way, if they even address it at all. And ultimately, it's starting to create a culture in the streaming industry and, of course, with the fans of streamers and stuff, where Twitch is kind of just a second-rate platform at this point. You know, you have creators kind of finally opening their eyes to the problems with Twitch and taking it on head-on with different moves, such as signing contracts with YouTube and Kick and all these other platforms that have popped up and tried to compete in the streaming market, right? Twitch stats tracking website Solely Known provides a snapshot of Twitch viewership over the long term, stating starting back in January 2016 when the average viewership for the whole site was 646,000. Average viewership peaked in April 2021 at 3.1 million. The decline has been steady since, dropping to as low as 2.2 million in December 2022. A slight bounce back in January to 2.5 million is healthy, but still represents a 13% drop from January of last year. Overall, there has been a 9.4% decline in both average viewership and hours watched in the past 12 months on the platform. So, alright, let's go ahead and talk about this, man. So you saw the graph, as you can see, over the years, right? It just grows and grows and grows until it peaks out in about 2021. And then from there, man, it's just been downhill. It's been steady downhill at that. It hasn't been, you know, up and down, up and down, up and down. It's been a pretty steady trend going downward, man. There's just no way around it. Let's just call it what it is here. You know, Twitch has taken a pretty big hit in viewership. I mean, a 13% drop from January of last year and an overall 9.4% decline in average viewership and hours watched in the last 12 months is pretty significant numbers for a platform like this, man. To lose essentially 1/10 of your entire audience in a year, I mean, that's just not sustainable, you know what I mean? That is not a sustainable growth pattern, I guess, for your platform. I mean, if this accelerates, the end of Twitch is going to be way quicker, but if it stays at this pace, I mean, it's got some years left, but eventually, if it continues this trend, it'll just begin to fade out of the limelight. Let's just call it what it is. It'll be losing market share to platforms like Kick and YouTube, probably more or less YouTube, because that's the one with a lot of money behind it. Kick, you know, it's done well in recruiting certain creators like Aiden Ross and whatnot and getting its name out there a little bit with like its revenue split being super high, but I mean, YouTube has a complete fucking, like, what do you even call Google? A monopoly, basically? Like, they've got pretty much infinite money to print that they can throw at YouTube, and they'll do anything they can at this point to take down Amazon's competitor to their platform. So, now, a lot of this has been attributed to the pandemic, actually, COVID-19, because obviously when lockdowns started and everything, everybody was staying inside, everyone was working from home, and it gave people much more of an opportunity to watch Twitch and watch YouTube and all these other things, right? And, you know, like, we've seen this happen even in other industries, like in the video game industry. A lot of video games peaked their popularity out during the pandemic when people had time to play them and, you know, were sitting at home doing pretty much nothing while the pandemic was raging behind us. And now, obviously, that the pandemic is mostly over with. You know, we're out of lockdowns now. There's no more quarantining really happening, things like that. People are back to work. And so some of those numbers have just naturally declined from that. But I don't think that's the entire story. Sure, you can attribute some of that to Twitch and everything, right? Like, you know, they're going to lose a little bit of people because of that whole situation. I get that, right? And you know what? That does make a little bit of sense. But at the same time, there have been multiple other massive issues that have been plaguing the platform. And like I said, we've talked about these in other videos before, you know, and we've made points about this in other videos. And these issues, you know, they've been around for a while, like especially like during this period of time after pretty much April 2021, let's go ahead and call that because that's when they peaked out and everything here. After that, you know, there've been a lot of these issues popping up and plaguing Twitch that realistically are posing a pretty big threat to the platform. Now, one of these issues alone is just simply Twitch's incompetency. I mean, as a company, they just simply don't do the right thing often enough, man. They're not coming out with enough new, actually innovative features that make streamers want to stream on Twitch. You know, I remember back in the day, right, like, you know, 2016 even, everyone wanted to stream on Twitch because that was the place to stream, you know, like that was the big win. You know, if you were getting good at streaming on Twitch, that was a huge W, man. They had like all these features that streaming on other platforms didn't have. You could make way much more money on Twitch, basically. But now there's just not that anymore, man. Like, I mean, you know, the huge streamers on the platform are getting banned left and right for sometimes frivolous things. It seems to be a lot of unfair treatment in the community towards certain creators. Twitch doesn't really do the best at addressing controversies and addressing things as they really kind of pop up on the platform. Viewers and creators alike are completely left in the dark on just some pretty critical decisions, you know, on pretty critical things. And like, you know, those things eventually over time, they're going to add up, man. They're going to really kind of shift people's mentality and mindset on your platform, right? Like if you constantly have a controversy or a situation where, for instance, let's say a really popular Twitch streamer gets banned from the platform and people are like, oh, hey, what happened? Why is he banned? You know, why is our favorite creator banned? And there's no response from Twitch and the creator themselves doesn't really know, or it's a completely unjustifiable ban, you know, people are going to get pissed. And then what Twitch does is they just kind of ignore it. They don't really do anything to actually fix it. And if they do it in the background real quietly instead of addressing people when they're getting mad about it. Now, of course, also there's the increased competition. You know, YouTube and Kick, they're throwing contracts at these streamers left and right, man. I don't know if you guys know how lucrative these contracts are, but we're talking about some of these top streamers signing deals that could ultimately net them millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. You know, like there's some streamers, like if you're at the absolute top, you know, you're low-key demanding like athlete money now, bro. Getting you onto a platform, you know, involving your audience on the platform and the revenue that you create off of your content at that point is so lucrative to these platforms that they're throwing exclusive deals. I mean, you see YouTube Gaming, man, they're out here throwing contracts. You see Kick, they're out here poaching talent too now, man. They got Aiden Ross. They said they're going for like Kai Cenat, I think, who ultimately is probably going to end up being one of the, if not the biggest Twitch streamer of all time. Like with that continued trend of all these major creators from Twitch eventually jumping ship to YouTube and these other platforms over these contracts and over their disputes with the platform, you're pulling away all of the top talent that makes your platform what it is, man. I mean, like if you think about Twitch, for a pretty good portion of the people watching, you know, they're watching like the top 25, 50 streamers. Realistically, man, that's not a lot, you know, that's a handful of people. And you think that YouTube can't contract, you know, 30 of those creators, Kick can't contract 10 or 15 of them, and leave Twitch with a handful of them, dude? Like, it's already happening right before our eyes, man. Like, there's no doubt about it. That's what's happening. These other platforms are just taking the talent. They're just buying them out. And guess what? Twitch isn't doing shit about it. They're not selling contracts to these guys. They're not giving them incentives to stay, really. And then another reason I kind of want to bring up in this entire situation as to why I think Twitch is kind of finally meeting the end after all of this time is Amazon does not seem that committed at dumping money into Twitch. Now, I mean, I get it, right? It's a business. You know, they didn't buy Twitch to just pour money into it left and right with no return, obviously, right? But at the end of the day, with a platform like Twitch, you're gonna have to throw more money at it than what they're throwing at it right now to keep it sustainable. Like I said, you gotta gotta sell contracts to these guys, man. You gotta get these top creators contracted to Twitch, and they gotta do something to address the other concerns that the community and creators have with the platform right now, you know? And it's not like Amazon is on some shortage of money. They've got fucking buku money, you know what I mean? They can do whatever they want with money, right? They just don't seem interested in throwing it necessarily at Twitch because, I don't know, maybe they don't see it as a profitable enough return. Maybe they just think it's a money sink. I have no idea, man, but they don't seem as willing as the competitor to spend money. And when you're at this point in like your platform's existence, you're the top dog, you have these other competitors, one of which is owned by Google and is one of the biggest social media platforms in the world, you have to spend some money to keep that up. Like, you can't just sit there for free on your hands and think you're gonna stay at the top, man. And it just doesn't seem like they're willing to spend the money necessary to keep the platform moving forward, you know? Like YouTube, they're constantly rolling out new features on their platform. Even for streaming, you know, they're constantly rolling out something new. They're constantly expanding the monetization options. They're constantly doing something, right? YouTube is spending their money trying to surpass Twitch in streaming and trying to become the dominant entertainment platform in the world. Twitch is spending their money, it seems like, to stay afloat, to maintain. To me, man, that just doesn't work. Like, you gotta play ball, bro. You gotta play ball to win. And Twitch does not play ball to win. They play ball to tie, it seems like. And that's just not gonna work. You look at a company with the history of like Google, dude, they don't play to tie, bro. They're coming for that spot. They're coming to knock Twitch down. And guess what? It looks like it might start to actually happen. This viewership drop-off is steady. This viewer drop-off is pretty significant, but is it the actual end right now? Not necessarily. If anything, at this rate, Twitch probably has a few more years. But if YouTube and Kick and all these other platforms continue to be aggressive in their pursuance of, like, you know, the top creators on the platform, they constantly are making a case for why they're a better streaming platform than Twitch, then inevitably the best talent's gonna move elsewhere. And when all the best talent is elsewhere, guess where all of your viewership is eventually gonna go as well. Twitch would not be the first platform or website to die. It certainly won't be the last, but man, I see it coming. The writing's on the wall. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel, follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubToOptimus. Make sure to check out Shoptimus down below. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, well, talking about Twitch dying and signing out.